What's going on, guys? Welcome to Mad Lab Boxing. As I promised you that my co-host would have days where he does not show up. So he's in Tampa right now. I'm doing this one solo. Going to be a quick show. Not crazy amounts of stuff going on in boxing today. A couple of news and notes I do want to bring up before we break down the Richardson and Kambosos fight, the Richard Hitchenson's fight. Good fight. We'll get into that. I wouldn't say it's a good fight as far as the line. If you look at the Vegas line, it's not good. You look at that and you're like, well, Hitchens should really run through him. There are paths for Kambosos in this fight, so we'll get into that. But before that, we are a combat sports site. We are covering much more boxing now. If you want to see more MMA content, you go to the Dog and Pass podcast on YouTube as well, where me and Dan Time will break down all the MMA cards. Also, if you want full content, full breakdowns, DraftKings analysis, wagering blueprints for UFC and boxing, please go to the madlabmma.com. We got different tiers. We have the Fight Brain technology. We got fighter metrics for every fighter. We do a live stream before the fight. We have a Discord. Everything you possibly need as a combat sports enthusiast is on that website. So please go check it out, the madlabmma.com. We have different tiers, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever you want to do. So let's get over there and give us a look. Also, I do want to talk about, even though this is a boxing site, there is something serious that's going on in the combat sports world. If you haven't heard, Ben Askren, a former UFC fighter, is hospitalized. I'm not sure the details as far as if he's out, if he's in, is still in, but the last I've heard, which was last night, that he was in critical condition due to a pneumonia. Now, the reason why this probably happened is something like staph infection. Staph infection, if not taken care of or taken care of a little bit too late, it could travel to the lungs and it can cause a major infection and cause pneumonia. So my prayers are up to him. He's a very young guy, great wrestling pedigree. If you guys don't know who he is, you could look him up. But he's in a fight right now, hopefully not for his life, but he's in critical condition last I've heard. I'm hoping that maybe today he gets out of the hospital, or maybe he did. I know there was a rumor going online that Ben Askren passed away. I'm not sure who started it, but I saw it on Twitter. Rest in peace, Ben Askren. I think that was just a rumor. I think it was a flat rumor. Like I said, I'm not really sure all the details as far as his condition right now. I just know that he is hospitalized with a serious pneumonia in critical condition. So let's wish him the best. Even though there's a crossover, there seems to be a war with boxing and UFC. The UFC guys don't like boxing. Boxing doesn't like UFC. Like, at one point in time, do we come together and all join hands and give prayers to our fellow combatants for a safe and healthy life? So prayers up to Ben Askren. Also, another news: Canelo versus Crawford is now officially signed September 13th. Me and Bush are going to do a full breakdown of this fight, where we've decided we're going to do fighter profile. So it's going to be a 3-part series. We're going to do one on Crawford, we're going to do one on Canelo, and then we're going to do a full fight prediction. So look forward to that. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, because that's coming up soon. Like, comment below, tell me what you think, tell me what you would want to see on the show as far as predictions. If there's certain fights you want us to break down, certain news you want us to cover, certain elements you just want me to talk about, management, you want me to talk about the promotions, you want us to talk about behind the curtain in boxing, we'll do whatever you guys want to do. You want to do fantasy matchups from guys in the yesteryears to guys of today, we could do that. Give us who you would want us to break down, a la say like Ali versus Tyson, something like that, Foreman versus Tyson. Whatever you guys want, we will do. We will make this show kind of geared and tailored to what you guys want. All right, so this weekend, not crazy. Last couple of weeks haven't been super, super crazy in boxing. We do have one fight for the IBF Junior Welterweight Championship. You have Hitchens versus Kambosos. Listen, I wouldn't say it's a fight that you're going to sit home and you're going to cancel plans to watch, right? It's just not one of those fights. But it is a fight, and it's kind of interesting in a sense, because when you look at both of these guys' histories, when you look at Hitchens is a guy who, coming up in the ranks, he has had some bad luck before he became a pro. Like, this is a guy who, I think it was 2016, he was an Olympic hopeful for the United States, and he got knocked out by Gary Russell in like the trials. So what does he do? His parents were born in Brooklyn. His parents are Haitian. He goes to the Haitian team, and he fights for the Haitian team. And with his luck, Who does he face to get knocked out? He faces Gary Russell. Gary Russell knocks him out. So that's just like a bad situation. Like, I mean, what kind of luck is that? His record now 19-0, 7 KOs. I think they did a good job, not promoting him, but kind of navigating his career in the pro rankings. The things I take away from his fights when I do watch him fight, he's very good on the back foot. And I think that's something that will help him in a fight against someone like Kambosos. He's very good on the back foot, not ultra aggressive. And Kambosos is not a guy you want to be ultra aggressive with. He is a guy that, Kambosos will push forward on you. You can, get into his head a little bit. He will try to get certain shots back. And if you're going to get into that firefight with him, if you're going to get that kind of an exchange with him, it's not in your best interest. So Hitchens does have that style where he can kind of counter that. He also fights very good on the front foot. Fast hands, fast feet. And I like that he's not super aggressive. I think the key to beating a Kambosos at his age now is you don't want to be super aggressive. Like, you want to kind of let him burn the candle at both ends. So I think this is a fight where the favorite is right. The favorite is right. He's absolutely should be the favorite in this fight. But I think that it's a little bit inflated. I mean, you're disrespecting Kambosos at this point. Kambosos, I will say this about him. I was never a huge Kambosos guy. I respect certain parts of certain boxers' games, right? And the one part I do respect about him is he's a dog. Like, Kambosos is going to come in. He's going to fight. He's never avoided fights. He's never backed down from fights. He's taken any fight that they put in front of him. And that's where the respect comes in. But from a boxing pedigree, from a boxing standpoint, is he good? Yes, he's good. But I think you can win, you could win, and like I say, he's 22-3 with 10 KOs, but we're going to get into his record in a minute. But you can win a really high-profile fight, and then all of a sudden, like, you get put on this mantle. Like, you get put on this certain mantle. So when you look at his entire career, up before he fought Teofimo Lopez, he was undefeated. All the way through that whole run, he was undefeated in his career. He comes in, he fights the fight of his life in that fight. Now, we can all say, like, okay, maybe Teofimo Lopez wasn't at his best that night. Maybe this was a part of the situation when Teo was in his own head, where he had suicidal ideations, where he just wasn't really locked in, or maybe he just took Kambosos a little too lightly. But Kambosos came in and he did his job. That is when Kambosos' star kind of hit. Now, when I watched that fight, it was the fight of his life, but I also said, like, would this ever happen again? Like, would he ever be able to go in there and do that to Teofimo Lopez again? And the answer to me is no. I just think Teofimo Lopez is on a different level that was caught on a bad moon that night. I think the stars aligned for Kambosos that night. But what happens when you beat a guy like Teofimo Lopez? When you beat a guy on that level, now all of a sudden you can't kind of take a step back. You got to fight these top-level guys. You got to fight all these guys now that are gunning for you. You beat Teo. And what happens? So his record goes from being undefeated to losing 2 of his last 5. I mean, to winning 2 of his last 5. So he was literally 2-3 in his last 5. So when they gave him that uptick in competition and he came back down to earth, you started seeing, okay, well, this is really the way it should be. He's a good fighter, but he's not an elite fighter. And I think that's when he kind of got exposed. Not exposed as being a bad fighter, but exposed where the stars kind of aligned for him that night. Like, there was a great fight. It was the pinnacle of his career. It was the signature and the cherry on top to a good career. But at the end of the day, it was a fight that if they fought that fight 10 times, I don't think he wins the 9 other ones. I think Teofimo Lopez wins those fights. So when I look at this fight, I'm looking at where is his path to win here. He's going to have to just kind of bite down the mouthpiece, and he's going to have to go. He's going to have to go. He's going to try to. He has to try to bait Hitchens into like this tough fight. I don't think he can outbox him. Obviously, he doesn't have youth on his side. And I got to be honest with you, when I was watching some of the pressers and stuff, and I was watching him talk, like, one thing about Kambosos he's known for like getting under your skin. He's got a narcissistic way about him. He's not going to sit there and talk trash about you and talk about your family. He's respectful that way, but he's got a narcissistic way about him where he can be very arrogant He could be very arrogant, and he can get under fighter's skins. And he started to get under Hitchens' skin a little bit. Hitchens was giving him the finger. I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to do this. And it's because he talks to you. His trash talking is with a calm demeanor. He's not in there, throwing stuff. He's not in there, talking about your family. He's not cursing away. He's kind of just smiling, and he's kind of just getting under your skin. And he did a good job. I mean, I got to be honest with you. That's one thing he is good at outside of, being a dog in there. He knows how to build the fight up. He knows how to build the fight up and see, like, where can I take this guy's emotions? And Hitchens' emotions is getting caught up a little bit in this, and it could be, listen, the kid's a new IBF Junior Welterweight Championship fighter. He's got something to prove. Kambosos is a big name because of the whole Teofimo thing. And this is a spot where he doesn't want to get shown up. So feels like he's got to stand his ground. It's a bigger spotlighted fight for him. But would I say it's getting under his skin? Yeah, a little bit. Would I say that it's going to alter the fight? It could, because what this could do is it could make him want to step out of reality and step out of his actual fighting prowess and get into a firefight and fight the wrong fight. Like, in order for Hitchens to win this fight, he's got to fight his fight. He's got to keep it slow, methodical, fight off the back foot. He's got to come onto the front foot a little bit where he's also good, but utilize his hand speed, utilize his foot speed, and just kind of outclass him. Like, that's basically what you have to do to Kambosos at this point in time of his career. You got to outclass him. And the one thing I will say about Kambosos is he did look a little old in those pressers. Like, he did look a little tired, and Hitchens does look much fresher, much more spry. So can Kambosos win this fight? Yeah, he could, if, like I said, but you have to pull this youngster into a situation that he doesn't want to fight in. You got to kind of pull him out of his normalcy. Do I expect him to do that? No, I don't. I think this is a fight where Hitchens should really outwork him and outclass him for majority of the rounds. I mean, is Kambosos going to win a couple rounds? Probably win a couple rounds. Maybe he takes his foot off the gas a little bit, or he gets caught with a big shot, or Kambosos just kind of throws caution to the wind and comes after him, and he just looks like the more aggressive fighter than there for a couple rounds. But more time than not, if you see this fight over and over again, I think you would agree, if you watch both of these guys fight, and you just know boxing in general, you would say that Hitchens should kind of run away with this fight on the cards. He's not a big power puncher. He doesn't hold a ton of power. Sometimes he can get caught up in these slugging exchanges, and he kind of loses his balance. He loses his footing. He just doesn't look all that right in there. And I think if he does that once or twice and maybe gets stung, that's going to be out the window. He won't do it again. So if you're backing Hitchens, then I think you would agree that you want him to kind of fight a clean, methodical, strategic, slower-paced fight. Let Kambosos come after you. Let him start getting frustrated, because Kambosos can be frustrated. You can frustrate him to the point where he starts loading up on shots. He starts just coming after you and breaking his rhythm and breaking his style. And just leaving himself open for shots. And you don't have to land these big power shots. You don't have to knock him out. You just got to methodically outwork him. And I think that's where he wins this fight. As far as Kambosos, can he knock him out? I mean, I guess he could. You know what I mean? I'm not crazy about Kambosos' power. I mean, 50% of his fights have ended in knockout. It's not like he's this big power puncher, so I wouldn't even consider him having like this big puncher's chance. But anything can happen when you get a guy in there who has been in there with the best. Win or lose, he's been in there with the best. He's got murked by the best. He's got outclassed by the best. He's beaten the best. So he's got that pedigree. He's got that championship goal. He's got that championship pedigree in him, where this is kind of all new to Hitchens. You know what I mean? Kind of all new. This is a big a name for him. So, unless the spotlight melts this guy, unless the bigger stage melts this guy, and it's not this huge fight. It's not like it's taking place in Madison Square Garden in the main arena. I think it's in the theater, so it's not like this huge crowd. It really shouldn't melt him. Like, the pressure should not melt him in this spot. Defending his belt. So I do like Hitchens. I think that I think it's minus 200 or minus 180 is the decision prop. I think that's a fair prop. I don't think he gets Kambosos out of there. I think if he does, it'll be late. I know the over 10.5 rounds is like minus 3 and change, which I don't really mess with shit like that. I'd rather take the extra round and a half and just take the fighter I think is going to win by decision. If I can cut the line by 150 points or 160 points. So to me, it's Hitchens. Like I said, I think Kambosos is tough enough to last. I don't think that Hitchens carries all that much power, and I think it'd be a disservice to him if he tries to get into a slugfest with him and tries to make a point. Just methodically beat this guy. Utilize the young legs, the fast hands, the fast feet, and kind of put a clinic on him. And maybe the knockout will come. Maybe the ref will step in because of an accumulation of punishment. But, knocking Kambosos out isn't an easy task, and I think he's going to survive for the entire fight. So give me Hitchens by decision. If you want to play that, if that's, the minus 180, minus 200, depending on where you look, I think that's a pretty good play. And if you don't, and you don't like that line, you could parlay it with something. If you're into the UFC, you could parlay it with something to the UFC. Or if there's another fight on the docket, on the card that you do like, you could parlay it there. But I think the safe play and the safe bet is going to be Hitchens by unanimous decision, by a pretty large margin. I don't think it's going to be a close card, split decision, anything. I think it's going to be a clear unanimous decision for Hitchens in this fight, and he'll defend his championship belt. So that's all I got for this week, guys. There's not much going on. Like I said, the next couple of weeks, we got a lot of things. We got the Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight, which I'm not excited about, but obviously we got to break it down. We got a lot of other news. Obviously, we get into the Canelo fight, soon. So we got some great things coming up. But right now, this week, the last 2 weeks have been kind of dry with boxing. So I'm just kind of keeping you guys in a loop, keeping the shows going until next week. So I'll talk to you later.